Hi everyone, welcome to the land of and. I apologize for not posting videos sooner. So really been thinking about all of that's going on, and also trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel, what kind of meaningful content I want to put out there. And here's what I came up with. This channel is about authentic connections, practical tools, and real stories to help encourage and move you forward. These are things that I want to share that are insights from my life, stories from my life and others, and just overall information that I think would be useful. So that being said, this is a new series. This is called Insights from the Middle. And there's two reasons why I want to have this series. First one is that I want my kids to know these insights. We don't talk about things as parents the way that they happen in time or when they happen in time. We don't say, hey, I just learned about this, until maybe our kids are grown and they're adults themselves. And then we say, oh yeah, I learned this lesson when I was this age and didn't share that with you at the time. So Carter, Olivia, and Ellie, this is for you so that you guys can understand these things in sort of real time, in sort of at the time that it happened, and not 10 years later when you're adults or 15 years later when we're talking. I want to make sure that we have these conversations sooner rather than later, and so we can use these videos as starting points. That's the first reason. The second reason is I want you to know that it's okay to be in the midst of learning. I am learning every day, trying to move forward and grow as a person, try to figure things out and do better. And so as I come up with things, I want you to know that this is the way it works. This is how the process works. It's okay to learn things sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly, but as long as you're learning and talking and moving forward, you're doing okay. A big piece of this is talking about it amongst each other, because it helps us to figure out things. Like, it helps us to figure out what's going on sometimes when things don't make sense. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be in the middle and the midst of growing. And we're always doing it, whether we want to or not. Sometimes we're growing into bad habits, but sometimes if we make some conscious effort, we're growing into really great behaviors. And so that's what I want you guys to know. Is that second reason of why I'm doing this series called Insights from the Middle, is what I'm learning as I'm going through life. Some of these lessons have been in the last month. Some of these have been in the last couple of years, but all relatively recently. These are not things that I knew at your age. And so here's the first one. My first insight, it's my big why, and it is the big why. It's be conscious of your time. And I know not all of you know what the word conscious is, because Olivia, you're gonna say, Mom, what does that word mean? So I'm just gonna say, be aware of your time. Be aware of how you use your time. Time is not unlimited. Time is limited. So we don't know what's going to happen. So let's not plan that we have so much time to use and possibly waste. People think that life expectancy is in their 70s, their 80s, like until they're much older. And that's generally true. If you look it up online and you see what is the life expectancy in the United States, men it's 73 and women it's 78. So life expectancy is in your 70s. But in the last 5 to 8 years, I have known someone that has died before their 70s. They have died as a child. They have died in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, for all sorts of reasons. Many of them health related, some of them just strange occurrences, car accidents, things like that. There is no guarantee that we will live to the ripe old age of our 70s. It's just not a guarantee. So the big insight here is use your time wisely. And the 3 parts to my insight is plan for the future, prepare for the next few days, and then the last piece of that is enjoy each day as much as you can. And if we do those three things, that is the land of and. It's really doing all of those things at the same time, all the time, to put it together for a life that you really enjoy. And as time goes on and we're lucky to be on this earth, the things that we plan for will work out too. It's really being conscious of your use of time. And let me tell you why this was one of my insights. And it's the big why for me. Because as you know, Nell, my brother, passed away in 2017, so about 3 years ago. And it rocked my world. It made me reconsider everything. And what I came up with from that time frame is that we are not guaranteed time. We are not guaranteed a life till our 70s. There are so many unexpected things that can happen that it's really not a good idea to plan for, oh yeah, well, I'll do that next year. I'll do that 2 years from now. Oh, it's not a big deal. I'll just wait and do it at some other time. Time is not guaranteed. And so I choose to use my time as well as possible. I follow this general guideline of 60-20-20. What is that? 60-20-20 is how I spend my time. It's also how I plan for the week. 60% of my time are for things that need to be and have to be done. It is for things like sleeping. It is for things like eating, cooking, cleaning, working. All of those pieces go into that bucket of 60% of my time. And it's not avoidable. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to work for most people. So that's 60% of my time. Try to be as productive in that time as possible so that I can have 20% of my time as personal time for myself. That's right, 20% of my time. And the other 20% is quality time with others. So spending time, whether it's with one family member, with one of the kids, or if it's with a friend on the phone. It's spending my time wisely. So it's really figuring out 60-20-20, like how does that work? That is why it's so important to me that we are and think about time consciously, because we need to be as productive as we can for the things that we need to do so we can enjoy the rest of our day and the rest of our week. So it sounds kind of odd, like, well, plan and prepare, they are very similar words. And so what's the difference? And let me use an example. The difference is what I'd say is the suitcase analogy. Planning for packing your suitcase is thinking ahead of time, what do I need to put in there? It's planning for, okay, I need a certain number of clothes because I'm going somewhere for X number of days. It's planning for, okay, I need these toiletries, I need my toothbrush, I need whatever it is. It's thinking about and maybe writing it down even so that I am sure about what it is. Preparing is actually putting stuff into the suitcase. It's actually doing. It's making sure that you have enough toothpaste. It's making sure that you have enough toothpaste to put into the suitcase and actually packing it and getting ready for that trip. That's the difference. One is future thinking and is more in your head. The other is really action oriented and things that you can do immediately, like putting things into a suitcase. That's the difference that I'm using here between planning for something and preparing for something. There's a big difference in the two ideas, but they go together. Plan for the future, prepare for the next few days, and enjoy yourself as much as possible each day. Because time matters, it's limited. It's really working on your mindset so that you're not grumpy. Enjoy life. It's not being grumpy and throwing tantrums. Just saying. What else? So my practical tool for this video is 3 questions. And these are questions that I ask all the time to you guys, to my kids. The first one is, what does the perfect week look like for you? It could include how much you want to sleep. It could include time for yourself and whatever that looks like. Getting your hair done, getting your nails done, just having some quiet, relaxing time to read a book. Any of those things are possible. But thinking about for the next week, what does that week look like in the perfect world? Knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but at least if we plan for and prepare for what that could be, then you'll be better off. Second question is, what do you want to know more about? This could be a topic so that we can get some books to read about it, or a magazine to read about it, or some articles online. This could be an activity that you want to do. I want to learn more about jewelry making. I want to learn more about doing crafts with yarn. Anything. What do you want to learn more about? Because you got to get started somewhere. So if you think about that and what you want to learn about, you can at least pull that into your days and your weeks sooner rather than later so that you are learning and you are building on that. The third question is, what do you want to remember about this time in your life? And that's a big one, because we're not going to remember the routines. We're not going to remember all the boring stuff that we have to do, the adulting, the throwing the trash out, the cleaning up in the house. That's not going to be the stuff that memories are made of. It's your quality time with others is probably the biggest one that we're going to remember. So what do you want to remember in this time in your life as the quarantine is still here, as life is a bit chaotic in a very different way than it ever has been before? What do you want to remember in this time frame? Because in 5 years from now, we're going to say, oh, I remember when in 2020, the coronavirus and we were all quarantined, and here's what I remember about that time. I remember that we had a lot of fun doing this, or that we were working on some new things. Whatever that may be, whatever that looks like for you, whatever amount of energy you have for that, think about it backwards. What do you want to remember about this point in time? So those are my 3 practical questions for this. So let me just recap one more time. First question is, what does the perfect week look like for you, considering all the different things going on? Second question is, what do you want to know more about? What do you want to learn about? The third question is, what do you want to remember about this time in your life? So think about those questions. Let's talk more about them. Kids, I'm going to come back to you and we're going to talk about them over dinner. And I want some real answers about what it is that you're thinking about, so that we can really do this big why of using our time wisely. So if you've enjoyed this Insight from the Middle first video, please hit that subscribe button, because next week's topic is the health journey. How do we do that? What does it mean? What does it look like? What's my story behind it? I know some of you have seen my autoimmune protocol video about starting it and have some updates. I will share those with you in my Insights from the Middle next week. So subscribe, join me, Land of And Official on Instagram, and comment, make some comments. What do you think about the big why? What do you think about sharing this with your kids? Comment, talk about it, let me know.